Hello, how are you guys tonight? Hello, my queens. Hi. Hello, my sisters in sobriety. How are you guys doing tonight? Hi, Tomorrow Women. Hi, Chosen. How are you? Wow, this is very exciting. I see more Miss Do Betters. Hi, Miss Do Betters. Wow. You know what? When I speak on Miss Do Betters, I like to give a standing ovation to Lil Donald because that song that the Holy Spirit used him to write for us, women in abusive relationships, mentally abused, physically, emotionally, verbally, however it was issued out to you. Lil Donald, you moved mountains with that. I thank you so much that you allowed the Holy Spirit to use you to write that song. And what I gather from that is that you probably have known a woman like that, some woman that was very close to you that you loved. And I like to thank you for sharing that person's pain and your pain if you experienced it watching someone, a woman that you cared about, go through something like that in her life. And I'm glad that you put it out there. I thank you so much. And I also like to thank Mr. Ronnie Bell as well for letting the spirit guide him also to write I'll Pay the Shipping Costs. Thanks, guys. You guys are really, really, really a big blessing in modern day abuse, that goes on with women. High progress, hello, success and successful. High surely goodness and mercy. High power, high powerful. Hello, as you do know, Jesus is in the building, and I know you can feel him in the atmosphere. Yes, it is. Hi, tender love and care. Hi to all my sisters in recovery, my sisters who are just beginning. I want you all to know that before you start to walk, you will be crawling, and then you're going to start walking. And before you run, you're going to be walking as well. But every day, day by day, as you take it, it's going to happen. It's just how seriously you take it and how thirsty you are for that sobriety in your life. Okay? And I see we have the sobriety police here too. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, forever friends. How are you guys doing? Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. Hello, experience, high knowledge, high wisdom, high learning tree, high trees of fruit to bear good things. Hello, upright conversation. How you doing? Okay. Wow, they're filling on up. Come on in. Come on in. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Woo, patience. Hi, patience. Hi, calm. Whoa. Oh, hi, good trouble. How are you? Hi. Oh, well. Well, let's get this thing started. Hello. As you do know, I am Denise Jenkins, the keeper of my sisters. Um, Tonight is part two of speaking out and speaking up. When God has shown you their truths, it is for you to speak out on it. And what I'm speaking out on tonight is the programs that the government provides for us and the poor management that some of us get, how we fall under scrutiny from some of those managers and how they don't do their jobs, and their caseworkers that they send out, how they do not do their job the way it's supposed to be done. Now, I have spoke on this in other segments, but this one is very, very important for you all to understand and listen to, because I know that I am not the only victim of poor housing management through government funded programs. Okay. And actual factuals are very important. Okay. Now, being, like I said, I'm a recovering addict, and the enemy is always constantly trying to attack anyone who has chosen to live better and do better in life. And the fact that we have prayed to be delivered out of darkness and into the light, being that we have been chosen to speak on and speak out and expose such things, things that we have experienced on our own, and we have to show those experience. We have to share them with other people, because folks could be going through what we're going through. Okay. Now, the poor management of these establishments is completely ridiculous. And what it does is it makes me think, like, when the government give out these programs of HUD homes and HUD houses and Section 8 and Step Up and all these programs, Lanier uh, Enterprises, all of these names that they have, um, Georgia vouchers and stuff like that. When they have a job to do and they don't do the job, and we recognize that, are we supposed to keep quiet about this? I'm not one to do that, because I am an individual who will not be ran over, who will not be discriminated against, and who will speak out on any kind of injustice and any kind of systems that is in this world. We have to have strong and bold people to do these things. You cannot be afraid to speak out, because let me tell you what would happen. What would happen is you will keep on getting done wrong. You will keep on being put last, and you will keep being right while someone is being wrong. And because they have a majority or some kind of status over you in their wrongness, they can keep you there. I hope that I'm getting across to a lot of my sisters, because I know that you need to hear this, because the Spirit put it on me through my experiences that I have been going through. And there's a large amount of Black women in these programs. And where they place us at in the inner city, in these crime-ridden neighborhoods, and without the proper protection around our homes. No burglar bars at all. That is not safe. There should be burglar bars on our windows to protect us. Now, indoor burglar bars are very safe. Outdoor burglar bars are not. And the reason why is because if a fire breaks out in your home and you have bars on the windows and your doors are blocked, you cannot get out. But if you have indoor burglar bars on your windows, you can get out simply by maneuvering the procedure that you need to do to open that window and get out. Now, when you are in an area that is crime ridden and a lot of crime is going on, and if we're in these government programs, then that's what they should provide for us, not just throw us anywhere. Come on. Yes, we probably did come from being homeless. That's a given. But that doesn't mean I have to submit to your negligence and poor management of these managers and caseworkers that they put in charge of these programs. That is not fair. And in any event, where I'm living, I know where a lot of sisters are who have the same or halfway same incidents going on. Now, I don't understand how the government would pay a person who own a property and there's faulty wires in the wall, bad plumbing, toilets shutting down. How could the government pay for that? Does the government really know what's going on? Who reporting these things? Because apparently no one is. Now, in my condition and inside of my place, there have been two wall fires with electricity. Okay. Bad plumbing where the city could not even come in here and put a new water meter out there because the pipes are rusted. They are decayed. It's an odor. Okay. So that can't be fixed unless the person who owns the place tear up all of that bad rusted pipes and replace them. Now, leaky pipes under the sink. You see what I'm saying? A lot of these people who do these inspections are looking at what they can see. They're looking at the fire alarms and extinguishers. And that's what they see. But the inside of the house, the basics, more important things in that house, in that property that they don't see needs to be addressed. And if we keep our mouths closed and continue to live in those conditions, that's where we would be. When we want better, that's what we do. If they want their rent, then fix where we live. That's important. That's how we get what we want. That's how we speak out. You have to do that. Now, in my case, like I said, with the faulty wiring, this door doesn't fit the house, cracks in the door. Wintertime is freezing in here, and the unit does not work. It doesn't work to heat in the wintertime or cool off in the summertime. Now, this past winter, I've had a fire in the walls because I had to literally go out and buy space heaters to put around in my home. This place where I'm at, I had to get out there, go to Walmart, and get space heater. And because the wiring in the house is so old and outdated, a fire started in the walls, and we didn't see it. And it's a good thing we were up to catch it. And the fire department was called out. Second fire started in the wall, up in the ceiling. I called the fire department again. The fire chief said that we were lucky that we were up because if we were asleep, we could have died from smoke ventilation, inhaling that thick smoke, and we could have died in our sleep if we were not up. Okay? Upon reporting all these things, they were supposed to be fixed. But this person is only worried about getting the money, not worried about fixing what needs to be fixed. Now, a lot of people just sit back and they just let things happen. We cannot do that. We have got to speak out about things that are not right. Because if we do not, we will continue to live in these conditions. And then the next tenant to come and live in those conditions. So we must speak up and speak out. Now, these government programs have managers and caseworkers. I was supposed to be at this residence for 1 year and be gone. Now, the woman they had as a case manager for me, her name was Christy Smith. Christy Smith came in my home, in this house, and she sat there and looked like she was actually filling out paperwork for me, and she did not turn it in. I was thrown to the side and dismissed. Her director, Joanna Smith, over that program did not direct the program the way she was supposed to. She called me up and told me I had Section 8 and that I could get out and start looking for a place. Now I'm thinking, okay, these sisters are doing it. Comes to find out, she was just talking loud and not saying nothing. And the reason why she called me is because in this area, there's a lot of crime and a lot of gang activity in this side of town. And a lot of things was going on around me and my child. I kept calling to see if I could get someone out here to talk to about more patrolling in the area. Not just thinking about me, there are old people in this area. There are elderly people here in this area and little children. When I did not get the proper response, I called to the mayor's office. They sent over 2 police officers. At that time, they came over, it was the chief and the sergeant. And I told them how they need to patrol this area. In the wee hours of the morning, people are out there doing things, unlawful things. They said that they would put the place, my place, under watch for 2 weeks. Now, the thing about that statement, what I want you guys to understand is this: watch my house. There's no activity going on here. What you need to do is watch the area. Do you understand? After that, I had an interview. I called the news and I had an interview. And as they said it, as they brought this on television, they said one Savannah resident is speaking out against crime in the area where she lives. And at that time, there was no burglar bars on this house. So that's what prompted Joanna Taylor to call me and tell me I had Section 8. I go looking, I don't have it. Then she calls me and tell me they are no longer over my case, trying to cover their tracks. Okay. Now then comes another woman from Step Up who said that they was doing my work too, Julie Brennis. When I let her in and we got on the computer and I was supposed to be on a list and everything because I'm disabled. I am a disabled US citizen and I have a disabled child who's autistic. The vision in my right eye is gone. I have doctors to back this in my case and in my son's case. She too did not turn in my paperwork. So another year went on. Other caseworkers came because you see, Step Up was investigated because their head honcho was stealing the money that was supposed to be paid out to the property managers that own the places that we live. but she was pocketing the money. It was all over the news. Now here comes these people at Lanier Enterprises. Legacy Enterprises is what they are. Okay, I'm calling you. I'm talking to you. I'm telling you what's happening. Everything falls upon deaf ears in these situations. In government housing programs, that is not fair. Now, when the house fires in this house started in the walls and the electricity, and I was told about how lucky I was to have been up and not asleep during these times. I thank God. I really did. Now, the air conditioning system cannot work because of the wire. So all of the wiring in the house has got to be done because it doesn't get warm in here in the winter and it doesn't get cool in the summer. So they thought, well, we'll give you 3 air conditions for your window units. There are no burglar bars on these windows. And if 3 air conditioners were to come into my home, I'm not worried about someone taking the material things. No. What I am worried about is another fire in the walls with 3 units in the window. Come on, does that make sense? Because it does make sense to me. So when the house failed inspection and no one got letters at Legacy, I was like, wait a minute. So no one got a report saying that the house failed. So these people will continue to get money off the government while these poor managements and caseworkers are just sitting around in a house that's cooled off with their children and grandchildren, while me and my son is in here hot, 85 degrees, 86 degrees, 89 degrees temperatures inside of the house. So when I called the code inspectors, because I didn't feel comfortable for a house to pass an inspection just because they could see by the detectors, smoke detectors, because they can see a fresh coat of paint on the ceiling that's been peeling. They could see that. And that's all they could see. So that's how these places get passed. That is not fair. And it is not safe. It is not right. So what I'm saying here is when the government funded housing are inspected, it should not just be eye candy, what you could see. They got to do interior and exterior inspections. And when a person is reporting these things to these people, it is not funny. So today, when I called to talk to Amber Clark, and I'm telling her what's happening in this house, I was telling her about the space heaters and how the walls had fire in wall fire, in electrical fire. When I got ready to get to the next part, she started to laugh with her colleagues. So that means Miss Clark was not listening to my complaint. I found that to be very, very unprofessional. And the phone hung up. So I sat and I waited and waited, and I gave them ample time to call me back to continue that phone conversation, and no one did. So you know what I did? I called the caseworker who comes around here. I text her, thanks. Thank you for letting me see what I was blind seeing. That is not fair to us that they place us, for one, in all of these crime ridden areas. Our lives are not protected in these houses. I feel that if a person has a disability and their child too, that we should be placed in better housing and better neighborhoods. I really do feel that way because I am a citizen of the United States of America. I am a disabled citizen of the United States of America, and I have paper for and proof. And so I do for my son as well. Doctors and paperwork. Anyone out there who are going through programs funded by the government, and you are in a crime-ridden area with no burglar bars, with you and your sweet forever friends, it's time to speak up. This woman had the audacity to ask me, will I rent from this person again? Who will do that? Who would do that? Because if this is this is an incomplete place, if this place is neglected, what makes you think that the other properties are? Hmm? What makes you think they're up to code? So the place did not pass the code enforcer's inspection either. That is something that needs to be looked into because these people have these jobs and they don't live in these houses. They don't live in these areas. And for them to just start laughing while they're on the phone, and I'm telling this woman that I fear for my safety in this area with no burglar bars, 2 fires in my walls, and you start laughing. That's not a good report. It is not. If we do not speak up and speak out against any kind of injustice, it will continue. And I get my strength from my ancestors, my Black leaders who were slain because they spoke out, because they were judged for a past life, because they thought that just because we came from slavery, that they didn't have no right to be Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. They didn't have no right being outspoken. Fred Hampton wasn't supposed to speak out. Denise Jenkins is not supposed to speak out. Yes, I will. So, anyone else who are sitting on their hands and got their hand over their mouth, and when we step up and we step out and speak, and you have an attitude or a problem with that, that is your business. Because I will not ignore the real issue to talk about or think about something so miscellaneous that doesn't even matter to me. That's why in the communities where the Blacks are from, it is important to go and make complaints to the city about your raggedy streets and these overgrown trees and abandoned buildings in the neighborhoods where we live, instead of focusing on something so miscellaneous that does not make sense. And then when it rains and the lights go out, you're complaining to yourself because the city still can't hear you because you haven't picked up the phone to make a complaint to get something done. There are a lot of people, women in these programs. And one thing I do know that, look here, we have to make sure we keep a ruly household because if we don't, they'll put you out. If you late with the rent, you go into court. Okay. Is this a one-sided thing here? I I don't understand. Is this one-sided? No, it shouldn't be that way. We must take a stand and speak out and up against any unjust, any kind there is. Because these programs aren't watched the way they're supposed to be. These managers and directors who don't do their jobs correctly still have a job. And that's not fair that they have a title that they do not live up to. What are you getting dressed up like that for? You're not handling the business. And when someone is talking to you, laughter in the background? So that means you are not taking me seriously as a person. You don't care about my pain or my child. And I'm not going to sit down and let you keep being who you are on that important job. I am not. And I'm speaking out because I know there's a lot more sisters going through things who don't have men busting out their windows like some of them do, have men destroying the property. All of us who are living accordingly to the rules, paying our rent on time and our bills, keeping these places clean, keeping our yards tended to, around our house, and we can't get fair treatment. We can't get a ear that's gonna listen, but you getting a paycheck though. No, that's not cool. Do you understand? That is not. And I will not sit here and take it anymore. Because if the government is still paying rent for a place that now you got a court date to go to court about, does the government know? Are you all friends in cahoots or friends and stuff like that? You got to cover up for each other. One hand shake the other, slap the other hand while the tenants are suffering, while our children are suffering. Because whatever I go through, my child is going to go through. And whatever anyone who has children go through, their children are going to go through exactly what their parent is going through. Abuse of authority should be exposed by any means necessary in an intelligent way. You don't have to curse them out. That's what they expect. You don't have to give them any kind of lecture. You stand up and you speak out. Just like how when we get together and say Black Lives Matter, Just how we get together when people at banks won't give black people loans and they won't hire black people. And then we go around and gather people who they have wronged as well and we pick it. Then that's what we got to do. We've got to. This is not the 1950s, 40s, 60s, or 70s. This is 2025. I was supposed to have been moved from this part. I was supposed to have been out of this place by these different agencies. Every one of them had a problem. Every one of them had some kind of an issue, and they're still getting a paycheck. Every one of these programs had poor management, and they still getting a paycheck. No, I will not have it. When people think that you are dumb and you are not smart enough to stand up for yourself, show them who you are. Hit them with your education. Do that, not with your hands. You don't have to curse them out. That's what they expect. Don't do that. Show them who you are with your education. Show them who you are because you know your history and you know your rights as an individual. Show them who you are. And don't let them run over you because of your past history, because of where you are, because of what you look like, because of what someone has said to limit you. We are free. We are free. And we live in the land of the free with freedom of speech. So you speak up and you speak out against any kind of injustice against you, your loved ones, your friends, and even people you don't know. Because if you keep quiet, they will keep running over us. They'll keep sticking us in these houses, in these areas that they know they would never step foot in, turn key in any of these doors to live in. And when the conditions are awful, they don't living in these places. They're not here living in a hot house. They're not living here. And the people that they get to work on these houses, oh my goodness. See, if you pay attention to your business, you can handle it. It is very important that you stay focused on your business so that you can handle your business and no one else's, just your business. It is important that you speak up and don't let no one step on you. It is important. It is important. Please understand how valuable you are and your beautiful ones, your little forever friends. Speak on it. Speak on it. The people that they get to help them do these fixer uppers really quick so they can pass inspections, you would not even believe. They had a man in here who is in a wheelchair like little chair thingy. Can't hardly speak and understand. My light switch in the bathroom put on upside down. That's not cool. And these people are getting paychecks while we are suffering. And it's not cool. Pay attention. Focus. Speak up and speak out. This has been Denise Jenkins with another edition of PLM, People Like Me. I am my sister's keeper. Therefore, I shall keep my sisters away from harm and informed. Please share, like, send your comments, and subscribe to Our Father's program, PLM, with Denise Jenkins. Thank you.